All right, Joel, so this is the walk around for your new trailer. Looks a lot different than your last one, but trust me, lot more function here. I think this is gonna work out a lot better for you. I really would like to get some stickers that stuck better, because I know a lot of people are gonna see this trailer. Anyway, so let's start with the trailer. Well, the trailer is much more stout than the last one. I ended up doing dual 7,000 pound axles. They're 8-lug wheels. I spent extra, did brakes on both. Usually it's just brakes on one, but it's got brakes on both axles. And you can see how stout it is. Look at how that's 2x10 channel. Did a really stout jack on it. I think the last trailer, it was box up here, but it was angle iron uprights. This is box all the way through. We do a pressure treated wood now. The last ones were not pressure treated. And I think in the last one we did a diamond plate overlay, which, you know, they look great the first day or two, but then they fade and they look horrible. And water gets trapped underneath that diamond plate, and then without the pressure treated wood, it's just not the greatest. But doing it this way with the pressure treated wood, it's gonna be much more durable. It's gonna last a lot longer and not have any issues there. We did the walk-on diamond plate aluminum fenders, and then the box that I ran and got this morning, I matched to the, I think it's just a nice look. It kind of matches. I did a black one. I think it's a nice look on that. As far as, let's start with the functional stuff. So up here, this is just, I think this is going to work out much better for you. So total output is 5.5 gallons a minute. Your last units were 4 gallons each. And I think 4 gallons, you know, just because it puts out 4 gallons, you can run a 2 gallon or a 2.5 gallon a minute tip or a 3 gallon a minute tip in it, save water, probably do the same amount of work. I've got a recommendation for you on the rinse side of it, and I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, V-twin Honda, electric start, of course, a lot more fuel capacity. Last units were like 1.5 gallons each one. The guys are probably having to fuel them a lot. 6 gallons. It's one thing. Just fill them up. If you ever want to split this into 2 lines, we can do it. We could do 2.57 gallon a minute lines if you decide you want to upgrade to 2 different lines like the other one was before. It's easy to do. Belt drive pump, a lot more. You can see it's a lot bigger than the last trailers. They spin slower, they put out more. They're just more of a commercial duty pump. There's the inlet filter right there. Make sure that that's always clear. Tell the guys to make sure that's always clear. If it isn't, they can take it apart and clean it. That's the battery for the electric start on the pressure washer engine. And then working backwards, of course, with the electric brakes, we've got the breakaway boxes right here. I don't think the last trailer had this type of tongue, the bulldog tongue, but basically the way that you do it, you pull this pin out and then you push this, you pull this lever, and then it slides the collar back. Little tab pops up here, and then you're clear. And then when you're putting it back on, you put it on, squeeze that, slide the collar back with this little arm, and then you run the pin through it. Working back, so we've got I sent you the video last night. We did the updated style of the spot-free tanks. Water runs a lot faster through these than it did on the other ones, probably double the output. Whereas the guys would connect a fill hose to it. It probably would take a good 30 minutes to fill up a 200 gallon tank. This one's probably going to be able to fill that up in half the time. The way that, I don't know how you're going about charging them, but I don't know if the guys are pulling the tanks out when they flush them and charge them. You don't need to do that. It's just 4 bolts in the floor, and this frame comes straight up, and then they can easily take the tanks out instead of having to lift the tanks out. If they're really strong and they can lift them straight up and out of here, okay, but these hold a little bit more capacity, so I don't know if they'll be able to still do that like they did before. As far as the valving goes, I did something real simple. So basically right now, obviously this goes to this tank. This is your spot-free tank. I've got the separator valve here. Should never be opened, but let's say you had a huge job and you needed all spot-free. You could drain out the tap, turn that, and fill up the whole thing with spot-free. And you could also do the same thing with tap water. If you had a huge job that was just tap water and not spot-free, you could drain the spot or just turn that tap. The tap water is going to contaminate the spot-free. The spot-free is not going to contaminate the tap water. So if you were doing a huge job with tap water, you just fill the whole thing. But if you're doing a huge job with spot-free, you would drain the tap water tank, and there's separate drains on each one. That's the drain for the tap water tank. Over there is the drain for the spot free tank. But anyway, the way to run it when they're doing their pre-rinse or what have you, or something that's not spot free, they would have this valve open. That's your tap water. That valve closed. Never those two valves open at the same time, because it's going to mix the water together it could back up and mix it together in the tank. So always keep one open, one closed, depending on what they're doing. Always keep that closed if they're using spot free water. And my recommendation for them is when they're doing their rinsing, I don't think they should use one of the high pressure tips, because they're probably losing a lot of water in spray. I'm thinking for the rinse part, they should be using the chemical injector tip. It's more flow but less pressure. I think they'll end up using a lot less water going that route. But the tips are all up here: 0 degree, 15 degree, 25 degree, 40 degree. Your tanks dual 275, so 550 total. I've got the anti-shift plates like on the last trailer. I've got some real stout straps on these. These shouldn't move at all. I think the other ones, the other style of trailer, they would the other style of tanks, they would shift a little bit here and there, but these won't move at all. And then we already talked about the drain valve. This is your, I did 150. I think we had you written for 100, but I did 150, or I can't remember how our sheet is. If it's written for 150, hey, you got 150 hose. We did a much better style of reel than we used to do. I'm a Steel Eagle dealer now, so we did Steel Eagle reels. What's nice about them is if they're working, and they want to keep them from unreeling when they're working, they can tighten down these little brakes. But then when they're traveling and they tighten their hose up real tight, they can completely lock the reel right here with this little arm. It pops out and you pull it, and now it's free. But then when you stick it back in, it goes through the side of the reel and it locks it solid. So that's your high pressure reel. The spray gun is inside of the storage box. I'll show you how to open that storage box. This is our system for filling up, a little bit different than how we did before. So what you did before is you had a generator, and you ran the generator, and then you ran electric pumps off the generator. The way we did it, this is basically our modified soft wash system. We weren't doing soft wash systems last trailer, but basically it's a 7-gallon a minute pump. Always keep that off when you're not using it, because I think it could actually push through here and dribble and drain through the hose. But when you need to use it to fill up one of the tanks, you unpeel your hose right here, turn on your valve, boom. There we go, we're filling. And then just shut it off, boom, and then shut your valve off. This is a deep cycle marine battery. It's big, it's the size of this box. So they will probably be able to use this thing all week, depending on how many tanks they're filling up, before they need to charge it. I'm including a smart charger with the package. This is the tap, this is the pigtail for the smart charger. You just plug it in, plug the smart charger into a wall socket, and it'll smart charge the battery, and it'll shut off when the battery's full. If they're in a pinch and the thing dies out in the field when they need it, they could always just run jumper cables to it, or they could run an extension cord to an inverter inside the pickup. A lot of the new pickups have a plug inside of there, and they could plug in the smart charger, plug it into this, and just get by. But I don't know, like I don't know how many tanks you're going to be filling per week, so that's just kind of have to be something to wait and see. Like how much you guys are using it is going to dictate how often you have to charge that up. But being a deep cycle marine battery, and the fact that it's just a 7-gallon a minute pump, you should get a lot of use. I would guess, and don't hold me to this, I would guess you could probably fill 400 gallons of tanks before you'd need to charge that. But again, that's a guess. I'm just basing it on kind of how the soft wash systems run. The soft wash guys charge those every single night when they get home, but they're using them solid, like all day long the next day. Let's see what else. I think that's probably about it. Oh, as far as opening the box, you have a key that goes in here, and if you leave it, this one's locked out. It basically just, when you turn it, and how you leave that lock is if it's actuating or not. This one is turned. You can see it's turned. It's horizontal. It's perpendicular to the floor, the slat, so it's open. That one over there is locked. So when you have this one turned straight up and down, you'd push it and nothing would happen. So if you have one that's open and one that's locked, it's always going to open. If you need to lock the box, these need to be both vertical, the slashes. Otherwise it's wide open. There's your spray gun, just a standard spray gun, 36. I think that's a 48-inch wand. And then just like the last trailer, as far as the fill hose goes, you just connect your garden hose to this. I think you're going to be really happy with how much quicker these will fill up the spot free side of it. So I think that's about it. If the guys have any questions when they get it, send them the link to this video or just have them call me directly and I will school them. All right, take care.